Even before Hurricane Helene made landfall in Florida, the National Weather Service had warned of catastrophic flooding in western North Carolina, prompting Buncombe County to declare a state of emergency on Wednesday, September 25th.
Helene heading our way, sending torrential downpours, wind, and flooding tonight into Friday.
Many counties in our area have declared a state of emergency.
Helene made its way across North Carolina Thursday morning through the early afternoon. The North Carolina State Climate Office reported that its Mount Mitchell weather station recorded 24.41 inches of rainfall. The French Broad River crested at more than 1.5 feet higher than its previous high water mark set during the flood of 1916. By 5 a.m. Friday, September 27th, more than 15,000 residents were being told to evacuate to higher ground. Hundreds of swiftwater boat rescues were underway. More than 100,000 residents lost power, and only a few hours later, interstates I-40 and I-26 were closed, along with numerous secondary roads. On September 28th, President Biden approved a major disaster declaration for North Carolina, unlocking critical federal resources to aid in the recovery from the devastating impacts of Hurricane Helene. This declaration allowed the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, to begin assisting residents and businesses responding to the disaster. The shelter at the WNC Ag Center opened to community members escaping the floodwaters that wouldn't crest until that afternoon or recede for days. Although the rain dissipated, nearly 1,000 landslides blocked roads, destroyed infrastructure, and claimed lives. By Saturday, more than 5,500 911 calls were received, and 10 state and federal swiftwater rescue teams joined locals teams in rescue efforts alongside urban search and rescue teams. On Sunday, additional shelters were stood up at AB Tech to support the general population, along with those who had special medical needs. After the storm, more than 350 bridges had been damaged or destroyed, and while the county requested water ahead of the storm, those supplies were no longer accessible. By Monday, September 30th, the county's water distribution sites began operating, and the magnitude of damage to the water infrastructure was only beginning to be realized. To date, these sites have distributed more than 84,000 gallons of non-potable water, 595,000 gallons of potable water, and 206,000 meals ready to eat. Since before the storm, the county held community updates in English and Spanish to prepare and respond to the storm. With little access to phones, internet, or power after the storms, these updates became lifelines for the community, many of whom listened in over radios in their cars and even on ham radios, who streamed the county's updates live. School superintendents, municipal leadership, and community partners gave vital updates to connect community members to food, water, and shelter, while search and rescue teams shared all they were doing to find our friends, neighbors, and loved ones. The county redesigned its website to get the most important information to the community without overstressing bandwidth. The first community care station opened on October 9th in Swannanoa, offering showers, bathrooms, laundry, water, hot meals, and more to survivors of the storm. Through October, more than 13,800 survivors at multiple care stations across the county have taken advantage of showers, and more than 12,400 loads of laundry have been done. To help our community stay healthy, nurses have administered more than 1,700 vaccines. As the community begins to move from disaster response to recovery, more than 700 pallets of potable water were distributed to schools, and on October 28th, the first students made their way back to class with support from more than 250 school counselors from 53 other school districts. Like schools, child care centers can't operate without water. The county delivered more than 130 pallets, the equivalent of more than 262,000 12-ounce bottles of water to 61 child care facilities, helping give parents needed support to head back to work. Buncombe County employees also returned to work, though many had been reassigned, taking on different roles like staffing the One Buncombe call center to provide support in the recovery effort. With disaster assistance teams dispersed throughout the county, more than 49,000 Buncombe County households have been approved for FEMA individual assistance, and nearly $70 million has already been provided to survivors. FEMA has also approved more than $12 million in home repairs and rental assistance for 2,192 households. Buncombe County has come together to help, neighbors helping neighbors, clearing roadways, removing downed trees, and rebuilding damaged properties. Volunteers worked long hours to ensure people had access to supplies and resources like laundry, internet, showers, food, and water. State and federal agencies remain on the ground in Buncombe County, bringing bipartisan support to ensure that Buncombe County and the people who live here get relief and also long-term support for recovery. On November 1st, Buncombe County Commissioners approved $3.1 million in hurricane relief funding for housing and small businesses. The board also introduced disaster recovery consultant Tetra Tech, which has more than 25 years of disaster recovery experience. The Army Corps of Engineers is managing removal of nearly 10 million cubic yards of debris, and to date has already collected more than 50,000 cubic yards from Buncombe County roadways, communities, rivers, and streams. "It's a marathon, not a sprint," is a phrase heard commonly around the Emergency Operations Center since the devastating impacts of Hurricane Helene have been realized. We know the effort will be ongoing, but we also know that we, as people who match our mountains, have the endurance and fortitude to come back stronger.